Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you. It is time for your lunchtime live weather broadcast on your Thursdays, just a couple minutes here afternoon. We're going to talk about the latest in the computer model world and see if the, let's just say the confidence of snow has increased or decreased, and have the amounts increased or decreased. We'll take a look at that, at the new trends, to see what is shaking and baking across Oklahoma. So thanks for joining me. And I don't know if you're like me, but I have first world problems when I go to my phone and I go to swipe something because I don't want to see it because I'm trying to get to what I do want. And when I go to click on what I do want, something else comes in and then I click the wrong thing. Or if I'm trying to swipe away one thing, something will come in and push what I don't want to swipe as I'm swiping away. So irritating. Just thought I'd throw it out there. I can't just be me, right? And the other thing I've noticed is doing it is Google Gmail. So Gmail, they're doing the same thing. I'll go like delete stuff, and then all of a sudden it'll change the order in which, or I go to click on something, it'll change the order in which my email is to make me click on one of those stupid ads that are embedded in there. Shady, man. Shady. Anyway, that's something I've noticed recently. It just irritates me. But anyway. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me. Looks like a lot of you guys are finally joining in here, so that's good. Coming in from all over the state, so we'll kind of make this as quick as possible. I know you guys are wanting some snow because I got some snow lovers in the house. If you have some snow lovers in the house, hit the love button. Just flood it with a bunch of hearts so I can tell how many of you want snow. And then after about 10 seconds, then everybody that doesn't want snow, give me some angry faces. I like the snow, so I'm going to do the heart faces for me. All right, let's see. Again, if you do want to get into the live broadcast channel for Facebook, I'm going to post the link one more time. That way you can get access. What I do is on this channel is I'll send out a quick little notice that, hey, I'm going live, because obviously the Facebook algorithms don't always tell you because you follow so many pages, and it can't tell you for every page you follow. So this takes the smart decisions out of Facebook's hands and puts them back into yours, which is pretty good. So anyway, so get in that channel, and then that way you won't miss the broadcast. Just obviously when you have something like this coming up, there's a lot to talk about. So all right, well, out there currently, man, it's a gorgeous day. We've got sunshine out there. Temperatures have warmed. We're getting close to 70 degrees here this afternoon. I'm just under 66 here in my Tempest weather station. And I'm going to enjoy this weather while we can, because we got some big changes coming up. Now, for today, it's going to be a little breezy. It's starting to get a little breezy now, to get breezier this afternoon. Winds gusting over 30 miles per hour. So there's going to be a little bit of a fire danger out there, believe it or not, even though we've had lots of rain. So just kind of be careful. There's a Weather Service breakdown here in northeastern Oklahoma in the orange, which means near critical. For fire concerns if anything were to spread out of control. Normally in the wintertime, this is a lot worse because we don't get this much rain. But during an El Nino year, we get a lot of rain. And sometimes you get a lot of this, which is snow. So the snow potential for Sunday, this is the National Weather Service upgraded graphic from last night. They updated here this morning, where they continue to increase their percentage of snow, and they kind of focus it here. Now the question is this really how it's going to play out? We'll take a look here in a minute. But the keynotes are still the same, which is cold air be limited with this system, with surface and ground temperatures only marginally supportive for snow accumulation. And the accumulation be dependent on where the highest snowfall rates occur. Some travel impacts, kind of bridges and overpasses. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of warm ground temperatures to kind of help and offset with some melting of the snow. And here's a look at those temperatures. So it's into the 40s up here in the Panhandle, and then 50s across central, southern, southeastern Oklahoma. So it's not like we had with the ice storm, where temperatures at the ground and below ground were just right at or below freezing. We're actually well above, so that will add some heat underneath to kind of keep those roads in decent shape. But at some point, there's going to be an overcoming. If you get too much precipitation and not enough melting, where it will cause some problems, and that is on a Super Bowl Sunday. So if you are traveling for Super Bowl, you're going to have to deal with that. All right, so here's a look at the NAM model, which has just came in, hot off the presses. Watch that big color. Let's look at the area out here in the western parts of the country. This is where our new system is coming in from. The brighter the colors is indicating of the better the lift in the atmosphere. We have one little system that scoots by us for Friday, zips on across Kansas. We don't care about that one. We care about this one right here. That big bowling ball that moves right into Oklahoma. It is a direct shot. The NAM is loving this track for snow. But is it alone? Let's take a look. I'm going to look at all the models here at the 500 millibar level. Again, we're focused on this little circulation feature. So little L, I'll put it on the map here for you. But this whole thing is an upper level disturbance, but we're kind of focused on this main little corridor where it kind of closes off. So if we look here, that's the European. All right, so the center, and I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's do this. So there's a European there. Here is the Canadian model. It's less of a closed low, but kind of in that vicinity, right about so. The American model is back a little bit. This is for Sunday afternoon, by the way. The Icon model is back over in this area. The NAM model is a little bit more than north. It's the most northern track. The NAM usually does pretty good on the tracks of upper lows, by the way. The Canadian model, high resolution, is a little south of the NAM. It's kind of back in this area here around Ardmore. And the UK Met is kind of splits the difference, kind of back over here. It's not quite closed off yet. So there's your clustering or your grouping of the position of the upper level low storm system. Now this is great. If you want snow, this is what you want to see. There's a lot of agreement in the placement and the position and the timing. So it's all coming together. The models are finally all starting to settle down. All right, so what that means, let's take a look at that. So let's use the NAM as our bread and butter here. Now the brighter colors here indicates where you get a lot of the lift in the lower to mid levels of the atmosphere. This is on Sunday morning. So everything we see in this bright purple and red, that's where you got a lot of heavy precipitation breaking out. Now will it all be snow? We'll show you that here in a second, but you can see definitely where it's occurring in western, northern Oklahoma, even parts of south central. As we head into the midday, so lunchtime, a lot of heavy precipitation breaking out in this little area of lift, and you see the purple. Now again, keep in mind, we are tracking is the center of this little low right here, because this is the key. The key is going to be along this low, and north and west is where you're going to see the best lift when it comes to snow. So by Sunday afternoon, the low is still kind of around Paul's Valley, something like that, in this particular model data. And so all the heavy precipitations wrap around the back northwest side of it. Then here is the evening. Now it kind of loses that tight circulation here in the middle, but it still has the big broad one here, which again, the bread indicates where the best lift is by that point. So again, if your low is in this vicinity right here, we are looking at the best lift that kind of comes in, kind of a comma head around the backside like so, and that's where you get most of your snow. So you want to be on the north and west side of the track of the low at various levels of the atmosphere. 700 millibars is usually kind of a sweet spot. But we'll see, do we have any dry slots to talk about? Everybody loves to talk about the dry slot. Dry slot's a pain in the butt when it comes to snow. So let's take a look. Mid-levels of the atmosphere. All right, we'll zip through. So here's Saturday evening. So all this green is moisture. The blue is really heavy moisture. All right, so here's Sunday morning. No dry slot yet. All right, look at it. You see that? Mid-morning on Sunday and then noontime on Sunday. What is this? Yep, this right here is a dry slot. Moving in southwest winds in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So in other words, that really puts the kibosh on any heavy precipitation at that time. But yeah, remember, you have to visualize where that low is, both in the mid and upper levels, and it's right about here on this map. So that means on the backside of this, in the little zone we talked about before, where you see the moisture wrap around, this is where you get the best lift on the back end of that track. So once we get past this little dry slot window, midday on Sunday, look what happens. It moves off to the east, and that means central Oklahoma now is back into the juice, back into the moisture. As we go into the evening hours, that moisture continues to move off to the east, little by little, dry slot pushes out. So yes, we will have a dry slot. It will affect us for a few hours. That does help to reduce snowfall totals, just so you know. But out in western Oklahoma, there was no dry slot at all, which means the snowfall totals are expected to be a lot higher as a result of that. All right, temperatures, we talked about this. Today, my goodness, we're going to be pretty much near 70. Many areas, the models here stop at upper 60s, but that'll probably be a bust. But otherwise, low 70s, plenty of mid to upper 60s across the state today. On Friday, we're going to rinse and repeat a little bit. So let's start you into the afternoon. Right about there, 3 o'clock. may shave a couple degrees off. You have some moisture coming in, which kind of offsets some of the warming. And then on Saturday, a cold front comes in. So Friday night and Saturday morning. So on Saturday itself, it will be a cool day. But for this time of the year, not terrible. Lots of 40s, some 50s down south. And then on Sunday, let's start you out here. So Sunday morning, temperature's already below freezing in this area of the state. Not so much here in central. So let's go to midday, 9 o'clock in the morning. There's noon. So this is what happens. You get that colder air gradually shifting east as the storm system winds up, and it starts to develop that more of that hardcore upper level low, which means cold air then basically drops down from top down to the surface, and it cools along with the precipitation, and that gets the snow going out here pretty good. And if you look here around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we do have that cold pool now moving into this fashion here. You notice down here you're not cold enough for snow in southeast Oklahoma at this event. Tulsa and Oklahoma City is kind of on the leading edge. The I-44 corridor, 34, 35 degrees. That is basically that's around the limit. You don't want to go too much above that because there's just too much melting that happens too fast. But if you can hold between 32, 33, that's a lot better for more accumulating snow. It does cool down, 32 here in Oklahoma City, for example. So it does cool down as more of that heavier snow does develop. But it's going to be a mixture of rain at first, and it's going to start to struggle to try to change over snow. So it'll be rain, a little bit of snowflakes, rain, snowflakes. Then it's all going to be all snow at that point in time until the system wraps up. All right, but you can see, though, that temperatures are on the critical side, as far as getting it just cold enough for snow. Because, remember, just above the surface, it'll be plenty of cold, but right where we live and breathe, again, 32 to 36 degrees is your range at which you can get that to develop. All right, so let's go on to the big picture here. Show you the rainfall for Saturday, noontime into Saturday evening. A little bit of a signal for some rain here across southern and southeastern Oklahoma, but it's really weak compared to what it was yesterday's data. You get another round that blossoms for Saturday night around midnight into Sunday morning. So look at all that heavy rainfall, all those green regions down here. Snow to beat the band across southwestern Kansas and also into the Texas Panhandle and western Oklahoma. You can see how that snow expands as the rain moves off to the east through the middle of the day. And then by afternoon and evening, now stretching from Missouri to Kansas, back into most of Oklahoma, and even far northwestern Texas. Now, I don't think it's going to make it as far south as Dallas, but it's going to get close up here to the northwestern parts of the Lone Star State. So here's a close-up view of what we just looked at with some timing on here for you. So we'll zip it to the part where the rain kind of comes in pretty heavy. So here you go. It's midnight on Sunday, and then overnight Sunday night, there's that heavy rainfall toward daybreak in the morning hours. And then we had that heavy snow, Elk City, west to Childress, back up into the Woodward area. And by 9 o'clock in the morning, it stretches up to Enid, just about Ponca City, and then back out again toward Childress. So this little quadrant of the state for Sunday morning is going to get hammered with a lot of snow. All right, so here is a look at the noontime position. It's finally now starting to transition over here in Oklahoma City on the north and west side of town, and getting heavier snows here at Enid to Ponca City and back out to the west. As we head into the evening hours, we'll go from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and that's where the model stops as far as the data is concerned. And you can see that snowfall stretching down here just south of Red River. Kind of this little fashion up here to Tulsa. So pretty much the I-44 corridor seems to be the cutoff in this particular data model for significant amounts of snow. Once you travel less or south from that, it's less and less and less to flurries and then dusting. But north and west of that, plenty of accumulating snow. But it will melt rather quickly because of the warm ground temperatures. All right, so let's take a look at what the totals would be. I'm going to show you, let's do the 10-to-1 ratio. So 10-to-1 ratio is a standard snow ratio. This takes you through Monday morning. So the UK Met loves western, southwestern Oklahoma on into the Texas Panhandle, just a little bit here, central east and up to the north and east. All right, the German model likes, let me do this right here. I'll get so I-44 on this map, by the way, kind of runs in like this, down like this. All right. So like I said, they're loving this boundary. Now, the icon likes to be a little more on the south end of this boundary. And I'll do a zoom in of this here in a second. The American model likes to do it a little north side of the boundary, but man, look at these numbers. Back up to around 2 feet of snow out here in western Oklahoma. The Canadian model, remember last night I told you how much of an outlier it was? Well, look what it's doing now. It's finally joining the party. So it's got pretty much most of the state in snow, and it anchors it right on the I-44 corridor. And then the European model is also loving the I-44 corridor, and this is again at the 10-to-1 ratio. Which is what your standard snowfall usually is in this part of the country in most cases. Now, of course, the snow will melt, like we talked about, because the air temperatures and the ground temperatures are a little on the warm side. So when that does melt, offsets what's coming down, and you do try to measure it, it'll be a lot less than what's actually falling from the sky, and that's usually the case anyways. So there's the Canadian model, which shows amounts a lot less, 4, 5, 6 inches, even up north and east, but that's still a great snow. The European model, same idea, lots of 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of snow in worst case scenarios. The American model just melts it all. So forget it. I'm going to drop you 3 feet of snow. I'm going to melt it down to 4 inches. Icon model says, whoa, did it snow today? I wouldn't even know it. But it puts a dusting to 1 to 2 inches, kind of a large area there. All right, here's that close-up view, because obviously we wanted to see where we are here in Oklahoma. Update this. So this is where things get fun or interesting. So I'm going to use the Kuchar ratio for this. It's a little bit different than a 10-to-1 ratio. It factors in other temperatures aloft in the atmosphere and some other things. But it loves that back end of the upper level low because it's the strongest with the low. It has the better northward position with the low. Therefore, it produces the most snow with the low. And the NAM is not good for snowfall forecast. Always gets a little excited. But the take home here is what we're going to be looking at, which is the heavy band focused out here in western Oklahoma, because it's going up 2 feet of snow, just so you know. But you can see that hard line in the sand that it has right along the I-44 corridor. All right, the Icon model, again, it's like an I-44. It's a little sweet spot. It's from Oklahoma City to the west, up around 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. All right, let's go to the American model. And it likes about 1 foot of snow, but way out west. Now, this only goes through Sunday evening, by the way. So it does not include Sunday evening to Monday morning, because I did the short-term version of the NAM model. And at this point in time, the European also had 5 inches to around 1 foot by the time you head out out I-40. And let me see if that new run did come in. It is right at the 84-hour time frame. So this is actually the new European data that came in here just for this morning. Let me fast forward this a little bit because I got some new data that just came in, hot off the presses, literally. All right, so this takes us up to midnight. So it loves I-44 corridor from Tulsa to Oklahoma City down to Lawton and back out west on I-40 to Elk City. So it's keeping this right around 1 foot out here with about 7 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City, 3 or so inches so far in Tulsa, a little bit more to go as you go from the midnight hours to Monday morning. So there's a really good heavy snowstorm. But we talked about you will have to melt a lot of that, right? So we just do an easy, let's just do like a 30% cut in those totals. And you're still looking at a 5-inch total here, 7 inches or so at Elk City, still over 3 inches in Tulsa. So you're still looking at still some substantial snowfall as we head from Sunday into the evening hours here across central and then now northeastern Oklahoma. Let's go a little further than that so we can do the other global models that came in earlier today. So let's see. So there was the American model. Still has a lot of it melting out here in central and west, even though it did dump a lot. If I do go back out here, let me look at the total for it. Let's see. Yeah, see, it was up 16 inches. So it melted 16 inches to like 4. In its data, so it's going, that's a lot of melting. What a waste. If you're going to have it, just keep it. Why melt it? Come on now. Let's see, the Icon model up through, let's see, now we're at Monday morning. All right, so this is the latest data through Monday morning, which is the end of the snowstorm. So 7, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow it has up here in a sweet spot, northeastern Oklahoma. Look at what it did to Tulsa, though. It went from, several inches down to a dusting, but that's just on the measurement side of downtown. Otherwise, it had a band on the south side, Broken Arrow, etc., 4 inches, and then back out here south and west. Now, remember, we're still early in the game here, so these numbers will fluctuate and they will change. Wait till tomorrow afternoon, and that's when we're going to have our best bet at actual real snowfall totals. All right, so if you look at the ensemble runs of the European, see this little white line? That means that run out of 50 said it's not going to snow, which means the other 49 did. And of all of these, see how much are in the pink area? That's like 10 inches of snow. So the European has just gone wild with this thing. I got to hand it to it, man. When I did my blog on Sunday, it was such an outlier, and it was a brand new trend. I was like, I can't jump on that yet. I got to see some more, I got to see some more data to believe this. I don't know how the European does it, man, but sometimes it does it. All right, so we look at all the ensembles on a flat plane like this. You can see the map. And I'll do the American, the European, the Canadian, all right? And we're going to see if you were to nudge them all different directions, how much snow they're putting out there. And the snow on this map, let's see, you can't see it. If I move it over, can you? Yeah, if I move it over here, you'll be able to see a little bit more. See that chart there on the right? So you get into the yellow, it's 6 to 8 inches. Up to the red, it's 2 feet. So let's just see what happens when I zip through this. All right, so there's lots of yellows and oranges. Look how it just kind of moves around. Remember, every run shifts that snow a little different directions. And this is in the early part of the event, so it doesn't cover the latter part of Sunday. So it gets you through Sunday morning. But you can see a lot of it's anchored out here across northwest Oklahoma and the panhandles, etc. So traveling out west to the Four Corners area is going to be a mess, with all that extra snow. All right, we go to day 4 of the European. It kind of splits the difference. So it'll take it from Sunday evening to Monday out north and east. And you saw also has some higher amounts on that Monday night to Tuesday up across Missouri and onward. Let's see. Same thing with the American that likes kind of that same spot. You see that kind of moves around a little bit. So the bottom line is every single one of these runs have some snow. They vary in amounts, they vary in exact placement, but we're in the vicinity for all of it. If you look at the Winter Storm Severity Index, this is for the minor impact and the probability of a minor impact, which is up here in the near 100% range. So in other words, plenty of minor impacts. What is a minor impact? Inconveniences to life, which means winter driving conditions. Use caution while driving. If a moderate impact is you use extra caution while driving, closures and disruptions to infrastructure will likely occur. Okay, so if I flip this to, let's just track the minor first. You can see how it tracks from out to the west. Each little forecast cycle gets more and more to the east and expands, and then moves up to the north and east. So that kind of follows the storm, right? All right, let's go back it up. Now I'm going to go to a moderate. All right, so there's moderate precipitation, moderate issues that we'll see of impact to your daily life, and it's about 40 to 50% looks like out in that area of the state of Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, and that kind of shifts to the east. So the model's a little slow. It says, it's not that much of a impact once you get from northeastern Oklahoma into Missouri, as snow amounts aren't that excessive. So in other words, they're going more excessive snowfall amounts out to the west. So this is a lagging indicator, but needless to say, it's just kind of a confidence deal as far as we're going to have some, trouble to watch for. All right, as far as temperatures go, nice next couple of days. Like I said, we'll probably be around 70 today. So these models will bust. And then on Saturday, much cooler because of that weak front and then some of the clouds that will move around. And then on Saturday night into Sunday, we've got the rainfall, and temperatures will be in the 30s all day on Sunday. And then, of course, we'll start cold on Monday morning, so we'll be below freezing, which means you got to watch the roadways when you head out to work for any of the snow melt that's still there, any existing snow that's still there. Otherwise, most of it will melt by Monday afternoon, and then what's left will melt on Tuesday. And the temperatures after that, they're not terrible, but they're about where they could be or should be this time of the year. So that's a look at that. And the last thing I want to show you, some fun stuff, because you know me, can't leave here without some geeky, science stuff. All right, so we did a two-dimensional view, a cross-sectional view of the atmosphere. So right here over Oklahoma City, just so I could show you what we have to work with the system. First thing I want to show you is, we've got a lot of precipitation that's loaded in the atmosphere. In other words, there's a lot of precipitable water to deal with. And so when it does rain, the rainfall amounts for late Saturday night to Sunday during the lunchtime hour for Oklahoma City is up around 1 inch to 1.25 inches of rainfall. That's a lot of rain. It's a cold rain, by the way. Imagine if that was all snow. If that was all snow, we'd be buried. Buried like you wouldn't even want to be buried. It's amazing. It is so amazing how a couple degrees can make a difference in your outcome when you're dealing with these type of storm systems. Regardless, when you see all these little reds, that's all omega in the atmosphere. All the lift. We just basically see these big, bullseyes here. Just nothing but lifts. In other words, this whole area is nothing but lift. The whole thing. It is the most massive amounts of lift I have seen in a storm system here in for a while, anyway. And it's got plenty of moisture to work with. Here's the snow growth layer in this little zone here. So it's developing the snow growth layer. It's just melting by the time it gets down to this level of the atmosphere. This is height going up, by the way, if you're new to this. So we're down here at the ground level, and this is up around 15,000 feet. So as the snow falls, it melts by the time it gets to the ground level because we're just a few degrees above freezing. But then as we go through time, we cool things down, we keep cooling things down, and then finally we get into this blue section, which is where we've cooled down enough to where it stops melting the snow and allows the snow to accumulate, and that's where we get our measurable snow here in Oklahoma City from the early afternoon through the evening hours, where this model data ends. If you were to look at this as, what we call QPF, it's like 3/10 or so. But when you look at it for snowfall, it does measure out to be about almost 2 inches of snow in that little 3 to 4 hour window here in Oklahoma City. Here from the model data, and this is just a point here forecast for Oklahoma City. So if you were to take a bigger picture of that and expand it across the metro, the way the pattern is showing, you have to track the upper level low, and you have to track the 700 millibar low. We're going to get your heaviest snowfall amounts, and right now that would probably on the north and west side of town is where that would be in today's data based off the NAM model. Other models will obviously we showed you a little different, and they're more to the south. So if that's more to the south, guess what? That means almost all the Oklahoma City metro gets pounded with snow. And regardless, we'll get pounded with snow once you head out west on I-40. So if you want the most snow, you head out west on I-40. But you should get plenty of significant snow here in central Oklahoma. The kids can go out there and play in it. It'll be a wet snow. They can hit each other with snowballs. They can build snowmen all from Sunday afternoon onward. As soon as it transitions over to your spot in the state, you're good to go. Once it transitions over, it doesn't go back to rain. So it's snow from that point forward. Some of the kids may have to do like evening snowfall activity, especially once you're kind of from central to eastern Oklahoma, since it'll be a changeover later. So you might have to do a little nighttime fun. And you know what, parents, let them stay up late, because here's the deal. One, I don't know if the schools will close. I don't make that call. But in case they don't close, a lot of it's going to melt overnight in the Monday morning. If they don't get a chance to play in it, when they get home from school on Monday, you're going to see the most upset kids you've ever seen. So let them have at it, man. Nighttime, put the floodlights on. Let them go at it for Sunday night after the Super Bowl ends. But anyway, so that's what I got here for you on the latest on the data. We'll look more trends here for, let's see, tonight, the new data that comes in. Now that we're at the high resolution model data period, we can start to really narrow down the exact path of these guys. And then that way we can really start to nail down the path of the heaviest snow. So it's a good little snowstorm. I just wish it was just a couple degrees colder. That way it would stick around versus a lot of it melting. Because to me that's a waste. But I'm a snow lover, so of course I'm going to complain. I'll just be happy to see some snow. All right, that's it from me. You guys have a great rest of your Thursday. I hope you have enjoyed your workday, and we will see you again tonight at 9:30, and again tomorrow around lunchtime as well. Take care.